Hello everybody, Gavin McCormack here from Upschool and welcome to this course on writing and producing your very own school and community newspaper. Now you've probably read the news, you've probably watched the news on television too, and yes, you're right, it's filled with doom and gloom. It's very sad. There's floods, fires, there's wars all happening around the planet and it can get us down. You are correct. But the newspaper you're going to write is going to be very different indeed. In fact, you're going to focus on the positive stories that are happening in your school, in your friendship group, in your community, and even around the world. But to write a school newspaper is no easy feat. You'll need to have really careful planning, and that means getting your team together. The first thing you'll need to do as an entire community is decide who is going to be your chief editor. Now your chief editor will be the person who takes charge of the entire newspaper. They'll manage all the articles, they'll manage all the timings. They'll be the kind of person that's very kind and they know how to run a team very carefully. Because each and every week, or whenever you decide to release your edition, you're going to need a series of articles coming in the door that you can publish and tell the world about the stories that are happening. However, you will also need to have yourself a number of journalists. Now, journalists are people who head out into the community and they find those stories. You'll need a variety of journalists. You'll need a journalist on sport, one on international news, maybe one on community news and events. There are a variety of journalists to choose from. And as a school, as a community, you need to decide what is your passion and what would you like to write an article on. Alongside your article, each and every journalist will need to capture a photograph, a wonderful dynamic photograph that captures the scene and tells everybody about what's been going on and what's happening this week or during your story. So you'll need to have your eye on the news to make sure that you're getting a photograph that's going to tell 1,000 words. You're also going to need a designer. That designer is going to be an expert using the Canva platform. And they're going to grab the pictures, they're going to grab the titles and the articles and put them all together to make a very beautiful newspaper that your community is going to want to read. Now, what will you do with the news when it's finished? Well, when your newspaper is ready to go, it can go out in your school newsletter. It can go out via email. It can be sent to journalists, to news outlets. It can be beamed around the world for everybody to read. So you have to think big and go big. And remember, as your newspaper grows, the amount of journalists you will need will also grow. Now the final thing is this. What will you do with the news to change the world? Well, the first thing is people will read your newspaper and they will feel good about reading your positive stories. But the second thing is we can actually make a real difference in the world. You see, here at Upschool, we have got a variety of charities. In fact, we've got 12, and we want you to choose one. Because in your newspaper, we're going to ask you to leave a small section free, and that section is going to be for advertising. We're going to ask you to find a local business, a local company, or a local organization that would like to advertise in your newspaper. And then your head of advertising is going to make a phone call or send an email and ask them how much are they willing to pay to have their advertisement in your newspaper. And when they pay the money, you're going to take that money and give it straight to the charity to make a difference. So, to round it up, you're going to write a newspaper. You'll need journalists, a chief editor, a designer, and you're going to need lots and lots of know-how with wonderful stories. But finally, you'll need to choose a charity where you're going to send your profits to once you sell your advertising space. You never know, this might be as big as one of the biggest newspapers on the planet. So let's get going and write a newspaper to change the world.